What's going on, everybody? It's Geoff Grammer with the ABQJournal, and I am here live in Viejas Arena. We are 49 minutes from tip-off at Viejas Arena between the UNM Lobos and the San Diego State Aztecs. A little loud in here, obviously. It's what the basketball arena before a game is supposed to sound like. All right, so the big news. Let's do the big news first. See if I can get this here. There towards the end of the bench, Guath with a knee brace on. Not that I think anybody expected him to play tonight, but just to sort of confirm the obvious, Guath is out for San Diego State. He hyperextended his knee on Saturday at Utah State. And the news on the other end of the court, way down there, you're not going to be able to see, but the Lobos are warming up, and starting forward Mustafa Mzil will be playing for the first time in 3 games, and he has missed 3 of the past 4. That's a good news, bad news sort of thing. Not a good news, bad news thing. Let me rephrase that. It is good news that Mustafa Mzil is playing. The Lobos need him to get back in it. Temper the expectation sort of thing in that he has not really practiced much in a month. He's gone a couple times. He did play in that game against Wyoming. It still hurt the foot. Plantar fasciitis. So maybe temper the expectations a little bit. He is a 5th-year senior. He is a team captain. He knows what he's doing. He goes to all the film sessions. He's at every practice. It's not like he doesn't know, but he has not played live basketball more than a handful of times in the past month, be it practice or a game. He's been trying to rest the foot pretty much for over a month now. Remember, the foot was bothering him before the UNLV game towards the end of January, and it really just kind of came to light to all of us in that January game against UNLV. So there you go. Mustafa Mzil is suiting up tonight. He is warming up right now for the Lobos. Looking down there at that end of the court, he's stretching out right now. And there you go. Let's see what else we got. I made it. For those that don't know, I did not make it last week for the first time for mechanical issues on the plane ever. I did not make a game. I had missed another game due to COVID, and then I missed a couple games when the Journal did not travel to Puerto Rico for a tournament like 8 or 9 years ago. So first time because of travel issues, missed a game last week, and it was the Boise State game. The Lobos lost at Boise State, and feel free to blame me for that. I certainly was not part of the solution that night. I was part of the problem. Got some Aztec analytics here. What's up, guys? The GOAT himself. I don't know about GOAT, but I am here. It is me, myself. So we are here. Should be a good one tonight. I think so. The Lobos, let me see if the line is still the same. I think it's still 2.5. Yeah, San Diego State by 2.5. It's an interesting line because, look, they played a month ago. Kind of disregard that, right? The Lobos won by 14. It was really, they were in control throughout kind of game, but it was the pit. And just like the pit, the Viejas is such an environment and a piece of a weapon in and of itself that it's really hard to kind of go in these series from game to game and really take too much from the first game to the second. That said, San Diego State without Guath, who in some ways, man, I know Nick Boyd's been playing tremendously, but in some ways, I would say Guath has sort of been the key to a lot of their success over the past 3 weeks, month maybe, as he's been figuring it out. This team's been looking more and more dangerous, but with him out, obviously that doesn't really affect tonight. The old who needs it more kind of thing, I would say San Diego State needs this game more. That bodes well for them. I will move my bag here real quick. So San Diego State probably needs us more, right? They're more on the bubble. The Lobos losing a road game at Viejas Arena is not really going to hurt the Lobos very much. Obviously, in terms of NCAA tournament resume and in the Mountain West championship race, they cannot fall out of first place. They lose this game and Utah State wins tomorrow at Boise. UNM is then just tied for first place, and they have the tiebreaker on Utah State, so they would still be the 1 seed. They're still in a good position, and they have Air Force on Saturday, and then they finish next week with the 2 Nevada schools in Reno on Tuesday, at and then host UNLV next Saturday. UNLV, we don't know when Deion Thomas will be back. So the Lobos' magic number is 3 to win the Mountain West Championship. Any combination of 1 win for them, 3 wins for them, or 3 losses for Utah State. That's what they're looking at now for UNM. And you would think having Air Force at home is going to be one of them. You got to feel a little bit confident about beating UNLV at home, especially if Deion Thomas isn't playing. So we'll see. I don't know that Utah State runs the table either. Mark is asking how Amzil looks. To be honest, for the most part so far, he's only been stretching. Now he's dribbling right now. Looks fine. I don't see a limp. The real question about Mustafa Amzil tonight is going to be the wind, right? Like, is he going to be able to run more than 2-3 minutes at a time before just kind of being out of shape, because he has not played too much live ball for the past month, only in very short stints in practice, and really for the most part they've been resting him. So we'll see. But no, he is down there warming up. He's dribbling right now. Haven't seen him do a whole lot yet. But he's suiting up. Box Gaming, how are you doing? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing really good on YouTube. We got Box Gaming joining us. I'm doing good. I'm getting paid to watch college basketball tonight, so how bad can life be for me? Does Viejas pack more than the Pit? So in terms of numbers, no. It's 12,400 something, 411, and the Pit's 15,414, or I might have the 414 and 411 mixed up for the two. I've always said this about the two, and the Lobos student section is growing and getting better. Viejas is much better student section when the show is going. When the show is right, Viejas and the student section is a really great arena to play in, especially because they're right here, right behind the visitor bench. They bring it. When they bring it, it's a really tough environment. But overall, I would say the Pit is still better. The reason being, at the Pit, it's not about the student section. It's about every, 70 or 80-year-old grandmother in the stands is yelling at you just as much as the students are yelling at you. And so the volume in the Pit is really, come the Lobos walking by here now. You'll see a bunch of them. And but yeah, the Pit's just, the volume at the Pit's louder. It is dug into the ground. Half this arena is dug into the side of the mountain, so it's similar in that regard. But yeah, the Pit's louder. The Pit overall, at its best, is better than Viejas in terms of that, but not in terms of student section. And I'm telling you, it's somewhat splitting hairs. When it's right here at Viejas, it's hard to beat Viejas. Same with the Spectrum, though. When the Spectrum's right, it's hard to beat that. All three of them, to be in one league, in one non-power conference league, to have the Spectrum when it's right, to have Viejas Arena when it's right, and have the Pit when it's right. To have those three arenas in one, non-power conference is it's pretty special in a lot of ways. Tom, a lot of on YouTube. A lot of this I just sort of addressed. What are your thoughts on Viejas Arena? I think they have the best pregame and in-game presentation in the conference. We're right up there for sure, man. I think you're probably right. I do think that we're trying to think of some other pre-games that might be good. No, man, I think pre-game here is as good as it gets. Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan. I've been a fan of Viejas and the game day atmosphere for a long time. I know a little bit of it it goes as the show goes, and the better the show is, the better Viejas Arena is. And so, get reliant on the show, on the student section sometimes is a little risky. But look, man, for the better part of the 13 seasons I've been covering Mountain West basketball for the ABQJournal, the show has showed up. So I do like what the show brings. I do like what the herd brings. And I'm happy to say that the team I cover every game, the Howlraisers at UNM, are finally really starting to show some consistency and showing up. So good. There you go. The show is getting canceled tonight. I don't know, man. They're showing up. Let me adjust this here. The show so far. That is the show so far, Jimmy. We got 40 minutes before game time, and that is the show so far. That's the high-tech production quality of the second camera going for you. Jimmy H says UNLV is pretty good. Yes, I mean, all things are relative, right? Like, UNLV is pretty good, but if you're overly concerned about beating UNLV without Deon Thomas on your home court, then you got some issues. There's no easy ones. I'm not, like, we can debate all that. Like, this is a Lobo team that lost to New Mexico State, a Lobo team that lost to San Jose State. So I'm not trying to suggest that UNLV can't beat UNM. It obviously can. But I would say right now that if your final 4 games are this one tonight for the Lobos at San Diego State, versus Air Force at home, at Nevada, just 7-9 right now in league play, and versus UNLV at home, potentially Nevada and UNLV both without starters, as San Diego State is tonight without a starter. I would say that if you're the Lobos, you should be able to pick up 2 of those, if not 3. And of course, you know, as any Lobo fan or the Lobos themselves would say, you know, why not 4? Why not get all 4 of them? So advocating for Jumbotron at the pit, the issue is the pit's roof is not structured to support a Jumbotron. If it had the overhead capability of holding light structures, they would have concerts that are touring the country and don't even want to go to the pit now because they can't accommodate, get in and out really quickly with their lighting structures. Same with boxing, same with UFC. You need the overhead lighting structures to put on a show, and the pit cannot support an overhead Jumbotron, center court Jumbotron anyway. And the renovation did not accomplish that 10 years ago and 15 years ago now, I guess. And maybe they can get some money from the state to help with that at some point. But yeah, the pit did not support overhead Jumbotron. Any news on the sick players? I understand McGill is a go, but what about those that were under the weather? Everybody's suited up. Everybody's playing. As of yesterday, when I talked to Patino in Albuquerque, he said, as best as you can expect, it's run its course through the team, and things should be fine. I know CJ in particular I talked to, and CJ's fine. Yeah. No, John, I did not get a chance to go surfing earlier. Lobos will win tonight. Keep the faith. Thank you. No, I did not get a chance to go surfing tonight. Surfboard got lost. Southwest lost my surfboard. I think it's in Boise right now. Baseball final, UNM 7, NMSU 0. That is from Lucas. Lucas, the NMSU graduate / sports editor of the Albuquerque Journal. I apologize, Jimmy H. I meant their pregame. Yeah, UNLV's pregame is cool. Anytime you got fire, it is pretty cool, right? And if you're in Vegas, you better be able to put on the show, right? So yeah, I apologize, Jimmy H. When he said UNLV was pretty good. I mean, their team is pretty good too. But yeah, we were talking pregame shows and production and all that. Once the game starts, I don't know that UNLV is any good, but yeah, pregame they're pretty good. Sarah knows. She's been to both. She is both are comparable. The pit has the edge for this year for sure. It kind of I think she's right. Like for the past decade, remember until the Lobos got in the NCAA tournament last year. Let's just remember what the decade was for Lobo basketball, right? It was a lot of not even NIT seasons. So let's not pretend like the pit every single year, and especially in those struggling years, was doing exactly what Viejas Arena was doing. It was not. So I think the pit at its best is still probably the louder and better arena overall because I think it comes from all over a little bit more than Viejas. But yeah, Viejas is consistent. Viejas, because their team is consistent in a lot of ways, Viejas brings it a whole lot more consistently than the pit did over the past decade. So that's why Lobo fans are loving it so much right now, right? It seems to be back. The last few years, looks like the pit is back, and it's what has so many people in Albuquerque so excited. And yes, Sarah knows. Believe me, she has been to both plenty, and she is certainly a regular here in Viejas. Go live for the pregame. See if I can do that. Maybe I can. Mark saying, I don't know. I'd rather have Emziel gets fully healthy for conference and NCAA tournament, risking to play him now. Look, I understand where you're coming from, but he's missed basically a month. He had a bye. He's rested for 2 straight weeks now. I don't know that if you're not going to get him a little bit more run right now, I don't know that going into the NCAA tournament with a guy who hasn't played in 2 months is really going to be, all that advisable, because you got to think about it. Like, he was already starting to miss some time before the UNLV game, which was the last week of January. So you go all the way through February. You got a week of January, go a week or 2 into March, and you're trying to rest him all that time. At some point, you got to get him a few minutes to see if he can even go at all. YouTube, I was surprised that the Mountain West Conference tournament did not move from Thomas and Mack to another location in Las Vegas. There have been discussions of why didn't it happen. Money, excuse me, the Las Vegas Visitors and Convention Bureau, whatever it's called there, basically gave the Mountain West enough discounted hotel rooms / money to keep it at Thomas and Mack, and that is where it will stay for now. Tom, I am too, man. You keep saying, hey, Jeff, I'm really bummed this basketball league is getting broken up after next year. How big of a hit do you think it'll be to the Mountain West on the basketball side? Is it a 1-bid league moving forward? Unfortunately, it's going to be a 1 or 2-bid league. I don't ever see it be stretching into the 3-bid conversation. So yeah, in terms of basketball, horrible what's happening. I get the football side of it. I do not think this is a good move for basketball overall. There can be debates about that I know people disagree with me on. I think this was a pretty good basketball league that's getting broken up to not make enough of a better league that it was worth breaking up for. What activated or caused a renovation at the pit back then? What would it take for a renovation again? They wanted suites, basically. They added 40 suites, which is probably too many for the Albuquerque market, frankly, although they are sold out now, so that's good if you can sell them out and make the money. But, they wanted some corporate suites to make a little more money, and they got that, and they are making a little more revenue because of it all. But that's what did it before. To renovate again, it would basically have to be, I don't know. I think they won't prioritize it over, say, keeping a coach right now. Alex, I'll answer this. I am not a fan of this press row. While it's very close to the bench, it is as crowded a press row as there is in the Mountain West. So the pit is too, frankly. UNM and San Diego State, 2 great arenas, 2 below average press rows, I guess I would say. It's a great location, though. We're as close to the court and up just a little bit that you can see well. You hear everything here on the bench right here in front of me. Just so you know, the bench is right here. That's the Lobos bench. So, yeah, location-wise, it's fine, but it's so crowded here. This is not one of the best. AJV on X. Lobo ceiling and floor for NCAA seats, ceiling 7, floor bubble out. Yeah, I think you're right. If we're talking pure ceiling, we're talking like possible win out, right? Possible get a whole bunch of more wins. I think they could be a 7. Look, frankly, some people have them as an 8 right now. You're talking about a win out. Can they move 5 or 6 spots up in the seed line? Maybe. So maybe one of the bottom 6 seeds if you want to really get optimistic for them. But I would say a 7 is probably the ceiling, and the floor. Yeah, I would say they're out. I would say if they happen to tank it here, if they don't win these last 4 games, if they lose 3 of them, It's not going to look good. If they lose 4 of them, it's going to look awful. If they don't win a game in the Mountain West tournament, it's going to look awful. So, yeah, I mean, if we're talking best case scenario, I'd say maybe one of the bottom 6, probably a 7. If we're talking worst case scenario, I'm saying out of the NCAA tournament. More realistic, it's going to be an 8 or a 9 seed, which is exactly where they're projected right now. GCU is underrated by everyone. I don't think so, man. I think GCU's gotten its love the last few years. It's not very good this year. I think GCU is sort of bringing it on themselves this year. So I don't think I think Grand Canyon is a program that's gotten its due in recent years. This year it's 20-6. It's 98 in Ken Palm right now. You know, it's lost recently to Cal Baptist, Utah Valley, Louisiana Tech this year, UC Davis earlier this year, 227 Ken Palm at home. So, yeah, it's got some bad losses. The Lobos are coming back out. Fans are letting them hear it. Point it that way, although I don't think you're going to be able to see much down there. Zoomed in as much as I could there for you. Any words on ticket sales for tonight's game? And Viejas is sold out. This is going to be a sellout. Heard something about some players on Fresno State betting. Yep. There's an investigation going on. It was on ESPN and a national news over the weekend. He's shooting spitballs in the back of the player's head, Jeff. I promise. Mexico State basketball dominated the Big West for nearly an entire decade. No reason the Lobos can't dominate. They were in the Big West for a while, but they were also in the WAC more recently when they were winning a lot of conference tournaments. No reason the Lobos can't dominate the future realigned Mountain West for the next decade. The problem with that, John, is, and I've talked to Richard Pitino about this, the coach doesn't want to have to win the conference tournament every year to get in the NCAA tournament. Every one of those NCAA tournaments that New Mexico State made out of the WAC, they would not have been an at-large team. Their metrics, their numbers were not good enough even once where they would have been an at-large team. They had to win the WAC tournament. New Mexico doesn't want that. It's not good for a coach to coach that way either. To rely on having to win the conference tournament every single year. You'd like the whole season to matter. And if you go to a one-bid league, if that's what the Mountain West becomes, it's not what any coach wants to be in. The band is coming in strong. Is he likely looking for a coach soon? Do you think CRP would more than a passing interest in that job? I don't think he moves any farther west. I think he's going to get a better offer than Arizona State, frankly. An interest, I suppose there's an interest, but look, he's been very clear about a couple things. One is he does not want to go back to Minnesota. I don't mean Minnesota specifically. I mean Minnesota in that it might be in the Big Ten, but Minnesota's not ever going to consistently compete because they don't invest in the program that way. Arizona State's the same way. They're not going to, until Arizona State shows that they're going to compete in the Big 12 on any consistent basis, it's the same kind of job. Richard Pitino's in a position where he can wait for the right job, and he's going to get offered something really good. But he doesn't want to just go and be fired in 4 years because he's at a Minnesota-type program that will not compete within its own league. NMSU also dominated the WAC. That's correct, John. They didn't make as many NCAA tournaments out of the Big West as they did in that run during the WAC more recently, though. Who do we have for officiating tonight? It is Tommy Nunez, Jason Phillips, and Scott Brown for tonight's game officially. David Thompson on YouTube. Hey, Grammer, how are you doing? What do you think? Who do you think is going to win the battle of the board? Could be a good time for the Lobos to play a little bully ball. I do think the Lobos let me start with this. San Diego State had one offensive rebound from a player. They had 3 offensive rebounds when they played in the pit. Only one from a player. 2 of them were team rebounds on missed free throws. When you miss the front end of 2 free throws, it counts as a team rebound, and they got 2 of those. So technically, they had 3 offensive rebounds. They only had 1 player actually record an offensive rebound. I don't see that happening again. But I do think New Mexico can be pretty good on the board, especially with Mustafa Mzil back. I don't expect a ton out of Mustafa Mzil, but I do expect the battle of the boards, New Mexico, to be strong on the glass. If Nelly Jr. Joseph stays out of foul trouble, I think the Lobos can do pretty well inside tonight. Catherine is asking, or on X, Aztecs had 14 turnovers in January against the Lobos and only 8 to Utah State. Is it a true improvement, or should we expect the Lobos to continue to disrupt them? I would say the Lobos disrupt a little bit more in general than Utah State. Look, I guess the numbers don't show that. Utah State plays a zone, and they have forced a lot of turnovers. But I think the second time you play Utah State and you're way more comfortable with that matchup zone, the turnover numbers against Utah State are going to go down for a lot of teams just because they kind of know what to expect. In general, the pressure defense of the Lobos creates turnovers anyway. So I would say the Lobos will have more success turning over San Diego State than did Utah State. No updates on the TV deal for the Mountain West or for the Pac-12. I mean, a lot of numbers, a lot of people like finding people to leak these numbers. There's nothing ready yet. Neither conference is actually close to it to having the number. Tommy's asking what the favorite road trip is to making the Mountain West goes. I don't know, man. It depends on like what day of the week. If it's a weeknight game, if I'm going a day early and staying a day late, all that kind of stuff. For the most part, though, I'm kind of locked into like today, for instance. I traveled the same day. If I travel today, cover a 8 p.m. local, 9 p.m. Mountain Time game, and then got to fly back tomorrow, I'm not exactly doing a whole lot in San Diego, although it's obviously a beautiful city and plenty to do here. Richie, what's up, man? Let's see the W today. As always, I'll be repping the Lobos at work. Richie's repping the Lobos at work back in Albuquerque. Appreciate you guys for watching. We are now 21 minutes away. I'm going to start wrapping up this show because I got to pack everything up and get ready to cover the game here. Still under the weather a little bit, getting over it. You can still hear it obviously a little bit, but no, I'm for the most part, I think, past most of the under the weather part of it. Gloria, you need to go after St. Mary's or Santa Clara. Discussions have been had, that's for sure. Problem with both is neither are a football school, and you got to start to wonder. Most of the money still comes in from football. If you just keep adding a bunch of basketball schools, it does help the basketball product, which is important. Nobody's denying that. But to what end? Like, if you just want to be a basketball league, then that's what the West Coast Conference is, right? If you want to be a basketball and a football league, then you need some joint members that are both, right? You don't want a bunch of league presidents always deciding on what's best for just basketball or just best for football. You want league presidents and ADs that are thinking in terms of both, if that's what your league is about. If you had too many basketball-only schools, which the Mountain West, frankly, is kind of starting to go down that route, then you've got a lot of meetings that kind of just cover a lot of ground that's sort of weird. You want schools that are both. That said, let me make it clear. I would love if St. Mary's or Santa Clara were in the new Mountain West. Yeah. Soon, Jeff's favorite place will be Hawaii. That would be wonderful. I imagine the Journal will probably not send me on any regular basis to Hawaii, but we'll see, man. We will see. Prediction from Jerry, Lobo 68-63. John's asking who I got tomorrow night, USU or BSU. I'm going to go Boise State, I think. I'll go with the home team. Boise State needs it a little more. Boise State's fighting to get in the NCAA tournament. Utah State's comfortably in the NCAA tournament. I would say that, again, the team that needs it more, I tend to go with a lot. And Boise State needs that more, and it's at home for them. I'll go Boise State tomorrow night. Yep, San Diego State representatives say they'll have a TV deal by the end of the month. I know John Wilner up at the Mercury News has been reporting multiple times through sources that they're very close to a deal. And the problem with all that is that the new Pac-12 does not yet even have an eighth football member. TV networks want to get into, when they go into business, they want to know what they're getting into business with. So maybe it happens in a month. I'm a little bit skeptical that all the stuff being floated out there and planted into certain reporters' timelines is always accurate. No Jalen House sightings tonight. He was season high 24 points for the G League team here in San Diego last night. Gotta hope the Lobos win tonight here from creamy cold Boise. There we go. A prediction as well from creamy Lobo 76, Aztecs 70. So there you go. Hey guys, I appreciate it. We're now at 18 minutes to game time. I'm wrapping up here. Follow the coverage on ABQJournal.com. Recapping the highlights. Mustafa Mzil for the Lobos is suiting up and expected to play tonight. Looking to see if he is actually starting. I assume he is. If he's going to play, they're probably going to start him. They have not put that in the stat broadcast yet. So, and McGuwalk is sitting, unfortunately, in a knee brace and on the bench, not warming up, and will not play tonight for San Diego State. So, ABQJournal.com. Follow all the coverage tonight. Game story late tonight. Will not be in the print edition tomorrow, but it will be online, as will tomorrow morning, and emptying the notebook that I write overnight in the hotel room here in San Diego. So there we go. Appreciate you guys for watching. Thanks.